So I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be an introvert. It's funny because I feel like for the longest time, the word introvert had this super negative vibe to it. As if it's a problem you need to fix, Like, oh no, you're quiet, let's get you out of your shell. But honestly, it's not a flaw at all. It's just a different way of being wired. It's like some people have brown hair and some people have blonde hair. Neither is better, they're just different. But, and this is a big but, being wired this way does come with its own set of unique hurdles in a world that seems to be built for people who are not like us. It's like trying to play a video game where the default settings are for a completely different type of player. You can still play, and you can still be really good at it, but you have to figure out all these weird workarounds, and it can be kind of exhausting. There are these little hidden struggles that people don't really talk about because, on the surface, everything seems fine. It's the internal monologue, the social battery draining in real time, the feeling of being misunderstood just because you're not the loudest person in the room. It's a whole thing, and I feel like we don't really get into the nitty-gritty of it enough. So, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get into it. We're going to unpack some of the most common, secret difficulties that come with being an introvert. Not to complain, but just to, validate them. To look at them and be like, oh, okay. So it's not just me. Because realizing you're not alone in these weird little struggles is half the battle, right? It's about understanding ourselves better and maybe helping other people understand us a little better too. So, yeah. Let's dive in. Okay, so first up is something I feel like every introvert has dealt with, probably since, kindergarten. It's the social misunderstanding. It's when you're just chilling, observing, maybe thinking about something completely random, like whether or not plants have feelings, and someone comes up to you and says, "Why are you so quiet?" Or my personal favorite, "Are you mad?" And it's like, no, Susan, I'm not mad. I'm literally just existing. I'm having a perfectly fine time inside my own head. Thank you very much. But because you're not performing this, act of being super bubbly and engaged every second, people assume something is wrong. They think you're aloof, or stuck up, or just plain unfriendly. It's such a weird projection, and the thing is, that can be so isolating. You start to feel like you're constantly being misread, like your cover is being judged before anyone even bothers to read the first page. It makes you second-guess yourself. You start thinking, wait, should I be talking more? Am I being weird? You're not trying to be rude. You're just processing. You're taking everything in. For me, I'm often just listening really, really intently to what everyone else is saying, but that doesn't always translate on the outside. It just looks like I'm staring into space, probably. It's this constant battle between your internal state, which is totally fine and content, and how that's perceived by a world that equates silence with sadness or anger. This can honestly make you want to avoid social situations altogether. It's like, why bother going to the party if you know you're just going to spend half the night deflecting questions about your own mood? It creates this cycle where you feel misunderstood, so you withdraw, and then your withdrawal is taken as further proof that you're antisocial or whatever. It's exhausting. It's like having to constantly write a press release for your own personality, just to assure everyone that, yes, I'm okay, I'm just quiet. This isn't a cry for help, it's just my default setting. Please, carry on. Let's talk about networking. Ugh, even the word itself gives me a full-body cringe. The idea of walking into a room full of strangers with the sole purpose of making, superficial connections is a lot. For an introvert, it feels so unnatural. It's like we're programmed for depth, We want to skip the small talk about the weather or what you did last weekend and get right to the good stuff. What are your deepest fears? Do you believe in aliens? What's a conspiracy theory you secretly think might be true? That's the stuff I'm interested in. But you can't exactly walk up to a potential business contact and lead with that, can you? So you're stuck in this endless loop of small talk, It feels like performing a script. Hi, how are you? What do you do? Oh, that's so interesting. And your social battery is just like draining with every meaningless exchange. It's not that we can't do it. It's just that it takes so much more energy from us than it seems to for other people. Extroverts seem to thrive on it. They bounce from person to person, collecting business cards like Pokemon, and they seem genuinely energized by it. Meanwhile, I'm in the corner trying to mentally calculate how long I have to stay before I can politely leave without anyone noticing. It's a real art form, by the way. The problem is, this can really hold you back. So much of professional life and even just making friends relies on this ability to network and schmooze. And when you prefer one-on-one deep conversations, these big group settings feel like you're at a massive disadvantage. You might have amazing ideas and be super knowledgeable in your field, but if you can't get past that initial barrier of small talk, you might never get the chance to show it. It feels like a system designed to reward the loudest voice, not necessarily the most thoughtful one, and it leaves you feeling like you missed out, even when you know the whole process just isn't for you. Okay, let's get into the workplace. Because wow, modern work culture can sometimes feel like it was personally designed to torture introverts. I'm talking about open-plan offices, mandatory team-building lunches, and this constant emphasis on collaboration and brainstorming in big groups. It's like the ideal employee is supposed to be someone who is always on, always contributing out loud, always bouncing ideas off people. And if you're not that person, it can feel like you're not pulling your weight, even if you're actually getting a ton of work done. It's just that you're doing it quietly, at your desk, with your headphones on. For an introvert, an open office is basically a sensory overload chamber. You can hear 5 different conversations at once, phones are ringing, people are walking by your desk every 2 seconds. It's impossible to get into that deep focused state where we do our best work. We need to be able to close the door, both literally and metaphorically, to really dive into a task. But when the whole environment is designed for constant interaction, finding that quiet space is a huge struggle. You end up feeling drained and unproductive, not because you're lazy, but because your brain is using all its energy just to filter out the noise. And then there's the whole meeting culture. The person who talks the most in a brainstorming session is often seen as the most creative or the most engaged. But introverts often need time to process information before they form an opinion. We're not the ones who are going to shout out the first idea that pops into our heads. We're the ones who are going to go back to our desk, think about it for an hour, and then come up with a really well thought out, detailed solution. But by then, the meeting is over, and the decision has already been made, based on the loudest ideas. Our strengths, like deep thinking and careful analysis, can get completely overlooked in an environment that prizes quick, extroverted participation. This one is like the absolute core of the introvert experience for me. Overstimulation and the social battery. It's a real thing, I swear. It's not a metaphor. For me, it feels like I wake up every day with, let's say, 100 units of social energy. And every single interaction, no matter how small, costs a few units. A quick chat with the barista? That's 2 units. A team meeting at work? That's 20 units. A big, loud party with people I don't know? Okay, that's a solid 75 units right there. And once the battery is empty, it's empty. There's no faking it. When you're overstimulated, it's not just that you feel a little tired. It's a complete system shutdown. My brain gets foggy. I literally can't form coherent sentences anymore. And I feel this overwhelming physical need to just be alone in a quiet room. It's like my senses are on high alert and everything is too loud, too bright, too much. People who don't experience this have a hard time understanding it. They'll be like, but we're having so much fun. Why do you want to leave? And it's not about not having fun. I could have been having a great time an hour ago, but the meter hit 0 and now I have to go. It's a non-negotiable biological need. This is why introverts get a reputation for being flaky or for cancelling plans. It's not because we don't want to see you. It's because we have to be, strategic accountants of our own energy. Sometimes you have a really draining day at work, and you know that if you go out that night, you're going to be a miserable, zombie-like version of yourself, which isn't fun for anyone, so you have to cancel to recharge. The struggle is that this need for solitude isn't always seen as a valid reason. It's seen as an excuse. But for us, that alone time isn't a luxury. It's essential maintenance. It's how we plug back in and get back to 100%. Okay, final point, and it's a big one. It's about societal expectations. It really feels like, on a grand scale, our society just praises extroverted traits more. Think about it. Who gets celebrated? The charismatic leader, the life of the party, the person who is always on and engaging. We're taught from a young age that being outgoing and sociable is the ideal. In movies, the shy character almost always has a makeover montage where they come out of their shell and become popular. It's presented as this ultimate goal, as if being quiet is a problem that needs to be solved. This puts so much pressure on introverts to conform, to act like someone they're not. You feel like you have to put on this extrovert costume just to fit in, or to be seen as successful, or even just likable. You learn to perform. You learn how to do the small talk, how to be bubbly in social situations, how to pretend you're not counting down the seconds until you can go home and be alone. But it's exhausting, and it feels deeply inauthentic. It's like you're constantly trying to live up to an ideal that goes against your very nature. It's like telling a cat it needs to be more like a golden retriever. They're both great pets, but they're fundamentally different. And this can lead to this weird sense of guilt or shame about your own personality. You start to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I be like that? Why do I get so tired from things that seem to energize everyone else? You might even try to fix yourself, forcing yourself into more and more social situations, hoping that one day it'll just click and you'll magically become an extrovert. But that's not how it works. It's a core part of who you are. And constantly fighting against your own wiring is a recipe for burnout and just, general unhappiness. It's a struggle to just accept that it's okay to not be the life of the party. So after talking about all of that, it might seem like being an introvert is like a major bummer, but I really, really don't want that to be the takeaway. Because it's not. Yes, there are struggles, and it's important to acknowledge them and know you're not alone. But being an introvert also comes with this whole set of actual superpowers. Seriously, think about it. We're incredibly observant. We're amazing listeners. We can focus deeply on things and produce really high-quality, thoughtful work. We form incredibly strong, meaningful one-on-one connections with people. These aren't small things. They are huge strengths. The world absolutely needs us. It needs the thinkers, the observers, the listeners, the people who bring depth and consideration to the table. A world full of only loud, fast-talking people would be chaos, honestly. It's all about balance. The trick isn't to try and change who you are or to force yourself into an extrovert-shaped box. The trick is to embrace your personality and learn how to work with it, not against it. It's about creating a life that honors your needs. Maybe that means choosing a career that allows for deep work, or scheduling alone time after a social event, or being honest with your friends about your social battery. So, if you're an introvert, please don't ever feel like you're flawed or that you need to change. Your quietness is not a weakness, it's a source of strength. Your need for solitude isn't antisocial. It's how you recharge and connect with your best self. Lean into what makes you, you. Leverage those superpowers. Find other people who get it, who appreciate your depth over your volume. Because once you stop fighting your nature and start embracing it, you realize that being an introvert isn't a struggle at all. It's actually pretty great.